One stormy evening, the child of the god Zeus and human Alcmene was conceived. His mom named him Hercules, which signified brilliance of Hera, to mollify the goddess herself. Hera considered the kid's introduction to the world an affront and intended to kill him. Two snakes rise out of the eyes of a Hera sculpture and crawl in their direction to the kid, yet the youthful Hercules snaps their necks with his godlike strength. As a grown-up, Hercules went through his renowned 12 works. He walks through a marsh to take on the Lernaean Hydra, individually cutting off their heads. He confronted the Erymanthian pig, bringing it down with his club. His most notable work was killing the Nemean lion, a monster whose stowaway was strong to the point that no simple weapon could pierce it. The individual recounting this story, Iolaus, who is likewise Hercules' nephew, is restricted and looming over a wooden pike right beneath his crotch. He is taken prisoner by pirates that have attacked Macedonia. The pirate chief begins to cut the rope that holds Iolaus by burning it, not trusting even the slightest peep about his story. The chief neglects to see Hercules approaching behind him, wearing the skin of the Nemean lion on his head and flaunting that he killed the monster with his uncovered hands, or so they say. Hercules accuses forward of his companions, the diviner Amphiaraos, Autolycus, Atalanta, and Tydeus, and takes out every one of the pirates and pushes Iolaus to somewhere safe before he falls onto the pike. Hercules polishes off the pioneer with one strong swing of his club. Hercules and his partners go to a bar to eat and drink. They are moved toward by a lady named Ergenia, requesting Hercules to assist her dad with safeguarding the realm from Thrace from a warlord. On the off chance that he succeeds, he and his companions will be compensated for their weight in gold. Autolycus pushes a plate of food to Hercules and advises him to eat up. The team goes to Thrace. Ergenia's child Arius approaches Hercules, anxious to meet this incredible hero in the wake of finding out about his 12 works. General Siticles accompanies Hercules and his team to meet Ergenia's dad. Hercules is inquired as to whether he's at any point been this near eminence. He reviews 3 years sooner when he made a trip to the realm of Lord Eurystheus, presenting to him the tops of the Hydra. He is likewise rejoined with his better half Megara and his 3 kids. Hercules then, at that point, encounters a dream of his family shouting, and the walls shrouded in blood. Hercules is brought before Master Codys, Ergenia's dad. He demands Hercules' assistance in warding off a military driven by the feared warlord Rhesus. He investigates Atalanta and says this mission holds a bad situation for a lady, however, she discredits him quickly by shooting 2 bolts at the caps of 2 fighters.
I stand corrected.
It is said that his troopers are centaurs that were destroyed by Codys' powers. Hercules consents to prepare Codys' fighters in battle. It begins with the men holding their safeguards up for security, however, they are effortlessly thumped down when Tydeus charges at them. Around evening time, Arius meanders around when he hears a growling commotion. He searches in the dimness to see Tydeus, who rushes at him, yet the kid takes off. He is found by Hercules, who lets Arius know that he and his companions found Tydeus as a youngster in Thebes after a conflict surpassed his home, and right up to the present day, Tydeus doesn't express a word. Hercules takes Arius back to his mom, who is in the hospice watching out for the injured and wiped out. As a gift, Hercules provides Arius with the tooth of the Nemean lion, which energizes the kid. Hercules drives the officers to the Bessie Heartland. Iolaus attempts to join the troopers, yet Hercules will not allow him to battle. The region has previously been attacked, with innumerable bodies spread all over the place, including small kids, and the heads of men mounted on spikes for show. The warriors go over a few new bodies, which end up being savages that put out a snare for them. The troopers line up with their safeguards up, and Hercules severs the head of one of Atalanta's bolts. One of the savages rushes Hercules, and he punches the savage so hard that he flies in reverse, with the sharpened stone stopped in his skull. The Thracians take on the savages, while Hercules and his group retaliate, passing on Iolaus and Codys to be watched. Atalanta uses her bladed bow while terminating bolts without looking behind her. Tydeus charges frantically at the savages, while Autolycus utilizes his weapons against them too. At the point when it seems as though the savages are overwhelming them, Hercules and Amphiaraos ride a pony-drawn chariot with edges, killing every savage in sight. The officers grieve their fallen, and Iolaus covers Hercules' injuries with the goal that the others won't see him drain like a human. Codes gets down on Rhesus, realizing he is behind this, ignorant that the warlord is watching from a far distance. Erginia watches out for Hercules' injuries back in Thrace. At the point when she inquires as to whether he has had a family previously, he evades the subject and sends her away. That evening, he hears shouting. He meanders out and sees dead bodies all over, including those of his significant other and kids. Hercules is then confronted with the three-headed canine of Gehenna, Cerberus. It is just a dream, be that as it may, as Tydeus stops by to wake Hercules up. This, as Amphiaraos states, has occurred previously. The following day, Erginia tracks down Hercules' companions and requests that Iolaus come clean with her about what has been going on with Hercules' loved ones. Iolaus starts to say that it occurred with Hera, making him frantic. However, Erginia excuses that as a legend. In any case, Autolycus lets Erginia know that they all have the motivation to trust Hercules. After training the soldiers, Hercules leads the soldiers to Mount Asticus, where they see what gives off an impression of being centaurs somewhere far off. They run toward the Thracians, yet they end up being men riding horses. Rhesus spreads the word about his presence for the officers. However, Hercules isn't in any way, shape, or form threatened by him. The Thracians take on Rhesus' men, demonstrating more impressive than previously. The restricting armed force fires flaring bolts at the Thracians. Amphiaraos, thinking his opportunity is approaching, remains in there, inviting passing. However, not a solitary arrow hits him. Rhesus rushes Hercules on his horse. However, Hercules gets the horse and flips him and Rhesus over prior to jeering, "Effing centaurs." Rhesus and his men are returned to Thrace, where they are derided and have trash tossed at them. A banquet is held, with Rhesus being tied up as a detainee. Erginia has sympathy for him, and she attempts to bring him water, yet Codes won't let her. Hercules gets Erginia alone in the wake of seeing her glance at Rhesus, and it is discovered that it was Codes that arranged the entire conflict to oversee the realm, with Rhesus only having gotten himself included. Erginia just maintains that Arius should be protected since he will climb to the privileged position after Codes bites the dust. She requests that Hercules take the kid with him, however, he says no. He goes to face Codes, who shows no regret over his activities and offers Hercules a spot in his military. Hercules, obviously, declines. The team is given their gold, yet Hercules needs to remain and help Thrace. Autolycus decides to leave, taking his portion of the gold with him, because despite the others begging him to remain. Atalanta, Amphiaraos, and Tydeus consent to assist Hercules with battling Codes. Be that as it may, when they generally go to confront him, they are caught, alongside Erginia and Arius. Hercules is tied up in the prison while his companions are secured in cells. He sees what gives off an impression of being Cerberus, however, they are only 3 horrible wolves. In enters ruler Eurystheus, who ends up being allied with Codes. It is likewise uncovered that he tranquilized Hercules the night his family was killed, sending the wolves to assault and kill them, on the grounds that Eurystheus saw Hercules as a danger to his realm when his kin cheered his name, stronger than Eurystheus. Codes orders Erginia to be executed in that general prison area to compound the situation. Amphiaraos advises Hercules to recall all that he has achieved and to recollect what his identity is. He cries, "Who are you?" And the man howls, "I am Hercules." He severs the chains and swings at the killer, preventing him from removing Erginia's head. She races to free the others while the wolves assault Hercules. Hercules hammers one against the wall, then, at that point, breaks the jaw of another, and afterward at long last kills the final remaining one with the Nemean lion's tooth. Arius passed it back to him while being caught. With everybody, including Rhesus, liberated, the Thracian fighters attempt to assault. One throws a lance that goes through fire at Amphiaros, which he predicted.
A spear of flame will pierce my
He remains
heart.
there, prepared to acknowledge his destiny, when Hercules snatches the lance and tosses it back at the fighter.
my fate.
You're welcome.
Hercules then pursues Eurystheus, who attempts to renege on it by saying Codes defiled him. He asks for absolution, however, Hercules snatches Eurystheus' knife and skewers him with it. Siticles then shows up and snatches Hercules with his whip. However, Iolaus spears him from behind. The last fight comes outside the castle, where Codes remains before his officers. They bring out Arius, taking steps to kill him if Hercules doesn't give up. An officer holds a blade at the kid's neck. However, the man is killed by a blade tossed via Autolycus, who is chosen to return for his companions. The Thracians battle Hercules and his team, while Arius runs back to his mom. Tydeus is struck by a bolt, yet he doesn't let that stop him as he kills each trooper in his way. Hercules recovers him, whereas Tydeus simply expresses Hercules' name prior to kicking the bucket.
Hercules.
The group spills oil and fire to impede the Thracians, and Hercules starts to push the sculpture of Hera from its base. Codes starts yelling at Hercules, calling him a quitter and saying his family had the right to pass on. Hercules at last figures out how to break the sculpture from its base, making it come crashing down, pounding a few troopers while the head rolls and crushes into Codes, tossing him past the brink of a precipice. The enduring troopers set out their weapons and bow before Hercules, reciting his name. The remainder of his group remains behind him. Amphiaros conveys the end lines by saying that he favors the story of Hercules over fantasy. He says that you needn't bother with being a mythical being to be a legend. However, you simply want to trust you can be a legend. He adds, yet I don't claim to know much about anything. I should be dead. Thanks for watching, and we appreciate your time with us. Please consider subscribing and click the bell icon so you will always get notified when we upload a video.